And now, streaming live from the sunny Southern California coast, this is Options Uncensored.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve. Welcome to Options Uncensored. We're making real option trades in real time together. Let's get right into it. First things first, make sure you have your brokerage account open so you can follow along. Have your YouTube video quality set as high as possible. That way you can read the numbers a whole lot easier. Have a calculator on hand so we can do some easy math. If you have a question or a stock you want to go over together live, leave it in the comment section below. And finally, remember, this is not financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes only. All right, happy Monday, everybody. Let's take a look at our open positions. We are short at Palantir call spread. March expiration, trying to get to 12. Right now, marked at 22. We're fine. Our short put on CCJ, trying to get to 18. This one's down a bit, but again, short put, not a spread. We're fine on this one. EFA, short call spread on this one. Flat mostly. Or is it down $2? That's fine. These two are the troublemakers. Our short call spread on the semiconductor ETF has had a lot of work to do by March. And then our short call spread that we've been rolling, February expiration, that is this Friday. So we have to start trying to roll this one again. Or just take the L. Let's take a look at the chart really quick and then decide. We may be able to roll, we may not. It looks like, so we've got this head and shoulders forming. Shoulder here, head here, and this big shoulder here. Look, it can sell off and keep moving down. It could, as long as it gets past 85 by Friday, we're good. So that's totally possible. But again, we only have 4.5 days left till then. So it's kind of, it'll be a nail biter. I think what we're going to have to do, we're going to go ahead and cancel this order. Click on XBI here. We're going to try to roll it again just to buy us some extra time. We don't want to spend any money, so we're just going to set this at 0.00. Okay. So what's this going to do? It's going to close out the February strikes. So it'll be buy 1 February 85 to close and sell 1 February 90 call to close. And open up the same exact strikes, the 85.90 for March expiration. Not a credit, not a debit, just straight across zero. And all we're going to do is try to buy more time, okay? So we'll preview this, double check the rolling ticket. Buy 1 call to close for February and sell 1 February call to close. Hold on. We need to put this as good till canceled, okay? So it'll be open from now until Friday. Okay, back to it. And then we're going to sell 185 call to open and buy 190 call to open for March expiration. Debit, it's 0 across, just the commission, and that's it, okay? So we'll send that one out. It's going to hang tight here all the way till Friday. If it gets filled, great. We've bought some more time. If it doesn't get filled, we will close this manually on Friday, and we'll get to that then, okay? All right, so let's look for some new opportunities to start off this Monday. Not a lot going on in the news, but let's start off with NVIDIA. NVIDIA's been on a straightforward move up without any pullback. I know earnings are coming up. Earnings are on the 21st, so we're about, I don't know, 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks out till earnings. So remember, we made that JP Morgan trade before earnings back in mid-January, where JP Morgan had that big run up, and then we sold the call spread right before earnings. And even though it went up, it didn't go up enough, and it sold off the next day, so we made our money. We may be able to do something similar with this as we get closer to earnings. On the call side, you'd have to sell the 850 and go ahead and buy the 855. Not yet, though. Wait till we get closer to earnings, see what happens. Could continue to run up even more from here. 1485 minus 1417, that's 68. Divided by 2, divided by 500. About a 7% return. So we'll keep an eye on NVIDIA as we get closer to earnings. We'll follow up in like 2 weeks or so, okay? Next up is Hershey's. I believe a downgrade today, right? Let's take a look. Earnings were 2 days ago. Morgan Stanley downgrades Hershey to underweight and price target down to 183. That was today. Today's the 12th. Just that. So Morgan Stanley downgrade. We don't have to worry about earnings anymore. Here's our chart. Not a lot of movement on this. So we had gap down after earnings and rally up, then sell off the next day. Now gap down on the downgrade, but it's rallying back again. So a lot of back and forth, but not very volatile. Put side. You'd have to sell the 180. Liquidity's not great on this one. You got a 10-cent spread here. The 175 is also 10-cent spread. So let's see if we can find something else. Fang. Diamondback up 9% today. They're trying to buy, was it Endeavor? Yeah. Their rival Endeavor. Private company. So we're just going to look at Diamondback. Earnings are on the 20th, so we are 8 days till earnings. That's going to throw a monkey wrench into this thing. So gap up this morning and rallying big on the news. Good acquisition for them. We're not going to be able to do much because earnings are so damn close. Let's take a look at... Well, not a lot being priced into earnings. That's interesting. So that's bad for option sellers. You want big price movement priced into earnings, not small. Liquidity is an issue too. We've got no volume here on the call side. You'd have to sell the 180. Only one contract traded so far today. That's bad. Put side. A little bit more action on the put side. Again, that's because earnings are coming up. So these are put buyers and put sellers for earnings. You'd have to sell this one, the 152.47, and buy the 147.47 if you want to make it a spread, or go out to the 145. Again, liquidity is an issue. Let's move on. Close, though. Let's follow up on Tesla. I think there was a negative note on Tesla this morning. I don't remember what the note was, but there was a note out negatively on Tesla. We're past earnings, so we don't have to worry about that. Still waiting for it to get down to around 165, okay? So we have this channel formed already, so we should get a bounce somewhere around, I don't know, 165-ish if we get down there. Otherwise, this channel goes all the way down to, say, 146 from earnings back in January of 23. That's a spot for support as well. So we got this downward trend and a couple spots for support. It bounced off of this one in May of 23. That's interesting. Next one down here is at 165, 166. Okay, so that's our next target. If we can get down to 165, we'll sell the put side. Not yet. We're too close. A lot of good liquidity, a lot of volume here. People are selling the 170 and the 166.67 today. These two right here. These are all put sellers. On the call side, right here, the 220. Okay. Hold on this one. Let's move on. Rivian. I think they got a downgrade. I can't remember. Let's take a look. Barclay warns in downgrade. So Barclay's downgraded Rivian this morning. 9 days out before earnings. That's not very nice. So we're going to have to wait till after earnings to see what happens with Rivian. We've traded this one before. It's fun. Trying to create this bottom here with... You can make the case for selling the put side here. You'd have to sell the 12.5, and it's fairly priced. Call side, you'd have to go at the 22.50, and that's fairly priced as well. Again, you gotta deal with earnings though, so you have all the implied volatility is higher than the average across the curve. Okay, so for here, this is the expiration including earnings, and then the monthly afterwards. Both peak. Okay, let's hold till after earnings. Okay, next up, let's take a look at Gilead and a company CBAY, which I don't know that well. First, let's look at CBAY. Gilead's buying them out. You can see right away you'd have to go out to the 35, no liquidity. Put side, you'd have to go out to the 30, same thing, no bid, 0 bids across the board. So let's look at Gilead then, GILD. Flat on the news. Gilead to buy Simabay for $4.3 billion. Okay, there you go. But not affecting the stock that much. Gap down after earnings and continued sell-off, so that's interesting. Trying to catch a bid here at 73, which is support from back here in August of 21. If it breaks down below here, though, our next stop is all the way down at 70. Good liquidity. Put side, you'd have to go and sell the 70. It's okay. Nothing crazy. Call side, you'd have to sell the 80. You don't really get paid for this one either, so I'd skip the call side. There you go. Next up, Lowe's, LOW. JP Morgan upgrade. Earnings on the 27th. So we're about, 2.5, 3 weeks out till then. So that's frustrating. Hitting resistance from back here in September of last year. If not, 231. Let's take a look at the call side really quick. I don't want to mess with this one before earnings either. You'd have to sell the 250 and buy the 260. Let's do the math. 149 minus 59 divided by 2 divided by 1,000, 4.5%. That doesn't seem worth it. Now I'd skip the put side. You'd have to sell the 210 and buy the 200. 210, 200, 175 minus 78 divided by 2, same thing, 4.8%. Pass. Next up, VF Corp. We're post earnings here on this one, up 12% today. Activist investors have come in. Engaged capital. Seeking a board seat. Okay, there you go. Some positive reaction to the news. I don't know how much it's going to help. So gap down after earnings and a big rally back. So if you sold puts after earnings, you've already made your money. You missed the put side, so skip that. Call side, 20. It's a little close. You'd have to cover with the 22.50. Let's do the math on that one. 24 minus 6 divided by 2 divided by 250, 3.6%. Not worth it. Let's skip it. Citibank. Citibank got an audit. Urgent regulatory changes amid risk measurement concerns. So they got a note saying you need to do some audits internally, or we'll do them for you. Down slightly on the news, and Citibank is the worst of the big banks. Earnings for them aren't until April. Call side, skip it, not worth it. Put side, nothing's being priced in. You'd have to sell the 49. You don't get paid for it. Skip it. Okay, that was easy. Speaking about the banks, let's check in with NYCB. They're up big today. Insider buying on Friday, that's why. Earnings are until the 26th of April, so we got some time there. Big drop down. You would have wanted to sell the puts back last week when we looked at them. Right now, put side, you'd have to sell the 250. A lot of volume here. Let's do the math. 27 divided by 2 divided by 250. 5% if you sold the strike right out without the spread. You got paid better last week. You got something like, what, 10%? Now it's down to 5%. Missed it. Although, don't know if I really wanted to be in it anyway. Call side, you'd have to sell the 8, and it's too illiquid. A lot of action at the 6, but selling the 6 is way too close. Okay? Let's take a look at the KRE. They're up because of that news. So it looks like the bounce has already happened. Hit the low here on the 7th, bouncing off the support from back in November and September of last year. So the move on this one's been made, unless there's some weird bankruptcy news that comes out over the next week or so. Let's take them off the list. We're not going to follow up with this one anymore, unless it's going under. Okay. Let's follow up with Pepsi from last week, PEP. We were looking for 166. Maybe we can try to sell the put side here. Jeez Louise, you'd have to sell the 160. You get $74. I think, oh man, I want to, but we'll follow up tomorrow. How about that? I want to get down to 166, which is right about here. Otherwise, next bounce is 163.50. If you sell the put side today, you'd have to sell the 160. Let's hold on this one more day, okay? PayPal, PYPL, looking for 52. They are post earnings by 3 days. Never got down to 52. They've already rallied, and this move has been made. We'll take it off. Let's take a look at ARM. I think that one's up again today. No. Well, that's the wrong one. That's SRM. ARM. Yes, up 13% today. This is cuckoo now. So the hard part about this one is we don't have a lot of historical chart data to work with as far as support and resistance goes. They had their earnings last week. Big gap up and big rally. And now here we are 3 days after earnings. It's still around. It's at 130. It's gone from 76 before earnings up to 130, so that's interesting. That's definitely moved more than it was priced into the earnings report, okay? So that's what we're always looking for. The hard part is last week there weren't enough strikes on the call side to sell. It's probably for our own good because it's up a big again today. For March expiration, you'd have to go out and sell. So there are no more strikes. You'd have to sell the 180 and buy the 185. Let's do the math. You may not get paid for it, though. 677 minus 640 divided by 2 divided by 500. Only 3.7% return there. Interesting. If you sold the 180 right out, you got $687 in credit. but you're not covering it then, and that's incredibly risky. 180 on the chart. Again, there is no chart work to be done here, so it could definitely get to 180. I have no idea. 180 is way up here. And again, I don't recommend selling naked calls. It's not my. You can, one can. Me personally, I don't. Okay. What about the put side? Let's take a look at the put side. A lot more strikes to deal with on the put side. You'd have to sell the 80. You could sell the 80 right out if you got $8,000 cash secured, or you can sell the 80 and buy. You have to go all the way out here to 60, $2,000 spread. Let's do the math. 135 minus 16 divided by 2 divided by 2,000. That's 3%. If you sold the 80 and bought the 75, what do you get? 133 minus 86 divided by 2 divided by 500. 4.7 on the put side. Interesting. Where's 80 on the chart? 80's right here. Again, that's a far ways away, and that's one hell of a pullback, but it's not out of the question, you know? We'll keep following up with this one. If you can get a stronger pullback, say to around, I don't know, 105 to 110, then the put side kind of makes a little bit more sense. It's had such a big move up, it's hard to sell the put side all the way up here. Okay? So hold on tight. We'll keep following up. Pinterest, PINS. This is a follow-up from last week as well. Gap down after earnings, sell-off. Looks like a continued sell-off today. We're looking for, I put down 32.50. That's down here. So we have support from back here where it bounced on the day after earnings, that 35. Next is 32.50 right here from back in November of 23. And after that, we've got support at 31. Okay? 32.50 is right here. And then again at 30 and 31. A lot of support down at 29. So if you want to sell the put side, if you want to sleep at night, make sure you get past 29 for real, but you don't get paid for it. That's a 2 standard deviation move from here. So today, put side, you have to sell the 32. You only get $24 for it too. Call side, you'd want to sell the 40 and buy the 42. What's the math on that one? 34 minus 16 divided by 2 divided by 200, 4.5. There's just nothing going on today. Skip it. American Airlines is on the list. No, sorry, Alcoa. That's it. Looking for Alcoa post earnings to get to 25. It's just waffling around here. Next leg down. If it has another leg down, we'll sell puts at 25. Okay? Hang tight. Put side today, you'd have to sell the 22.5. You get paid $23. That's actually not bad. There's the spike. That's why. There's some weird spike at the March expiration. That's why you get paid $23 and it's not bad. I don't know what the reason for the spike is, though. Earnings? Maybe. Earnings are not till April 17th, so it's not earnings related. Expedia. This is a follow-up as well. Looks like the move's been made, though. So big gap down after earnings. Mild sell-off. Caught the bounce. I guess from back here in February of 23. Caught the bounce. Up again today. So selling the put side now is Dunzo. You'd have to sell the 125 on the put side. It's a little close. You get paid for it. Call side. Call side, you'd have to sell the 150 and buy the 155. Okay, liquidity here. Let's do the math. 135 minus 84 divided by 2 divided by 500. 5%. Almost on the nose. Again, it's like the bare minimum we're looking for. 150 on the chart. 150 is right here. That seems fair for March expiration. We're only 30 some days out till March expiration, okay? Let's move on. Let's follow up with Disney. I want to sell the call side on Disney. But volatility may be priced out of this one. We did have this gap up in volatility after earnings. It's kind of leveling off. Here's your chart. Maybe a pullback. Let's see. Call side, you'd have to sell the 120 and buy the 125. Let's take a look. 69 minus 32 divided by 2 divided by 500. 3.7%. Put side, skip it. You don't get paid for it. Let's take Disney off this list here, okay? Okay, slow news morning. That's all right. It's Monday. Let's take a look at our IV rank scanner and we'll sort by volume. We do have a lot of stuff coming up this week. We've got a lot more earnings. We've got CPI tomorrow, so that should move the market, hopefully. Hopefully a move to the downside so we can sell some puts. NVIDIA on the 21st. The IWM getting closer. We're looking for 210. It says it's at 201. Let's take a look. Interesting. Here's your chart on the IWM. If it gets up, it's rallying 3 days in a row here. I tell you what, if it does get to 210, we'll sell the call side. All right? Because, like we said last week, we've got all this resistance coming here from back in 2021, all around 210, okay? I like it. It hit this first spot back in January 21, back around a 205 and pulled back. Next spots are around 207, but definitely by 210. So that'll be exciting. All right, we'll keep. Actually, I'm going to put IWM on the list to follow up with so we don't forget about it. IWM 210. If you're following along at home, write it down. IWM 210. Next. AMD, January, February, March, April, end of April earnings, so past earnings. AMD, past earnings already. A little bit of volatility, a little bit. Put side, you'd have to sell 150. Good liquidity here. A lot of open interest at the 150 as well. The 150. Great spread. 2-cent spread here. That's very good. Call side. You'd have to sell the 200 and buy the 210. That's a $1,000 spread. Keep that in mind. Let's do the math on the call side. 282 minus 167 divided by 2, 5.7%. Problem is here with the chart, it's had this big move up. It's kind of sold off a bit, but not by much. And it does have this upward momentum here. So it's not directionally specific, so it's hard to take a side, calls, or puts. So that's why you're getting paid for both sides. What was the put side at? The 150. 150 is right here. And that makes sense. If it does continue to pull back, you'll get support right here at 150 from back in January, December-ish. Actually, there's more spots for support on the way down, but that's a big one back here. All things to keep in mind. Balance out your risk and your reward. Everyone's risk tolerance is different. Next up, Marathon Digital is up 7% today. This is all Bitcoin stuff. What a mess. Earnings in the 29th, we're too close. Marathon jumps 58%, jump in Bitcoin produced, blah, blah, blah. Palantir. We have our short call spread in Palantir, right? PLTR. Yeah, short call spread. ARM we already looked at. Robinhood is on the 13th. Riot. Again, that's a Bitcoin thing. New York Community Bank. Baba's up today. PayPal we already looked at. Too big. Neo, Clean Spark. AMC Rivian we've looked at. And they have earnings coming up. DraftKings. They've got earnings in a couple days here. We should get some good information about them. I think they've run up a lot. DKNG. Good looking chart. It's got a lot of upward momentum. It's rallied hard since their last earnings. I don't know. Let's wait till after earnings, okay? Coinbase, same story. It's all Bitcoin related. And they got earnings coming up this week. Same thing with Shopify. Marvell on March 7th. We'll skip Pfizer. The K-Web. We've traded the K-Web before. Let's take a look. This is all Chinese internet stocks. We're going to have to pass on this one. You want to sell the put side into weakness, so we definitely don't have that today. And for the call side, we need to get close to the 200-day. At the very least, get it to around 26.50. We're not there yet. Moving on. So Taiwan Semi. Very March, April. Not earnings related. Let's take a look. TSM. Earnings are, yep, April. That makes sense. Got some volatility. Ivy rank. Big run up post earnings here. So we had a gap up, kind of just hanging out, and then big move up in the past 2 weeks. And a slight pullback. Call side, you'd have to sell the 146. Very low volume, but a good spread here. A lot of volume at the 145 and 50. People are probably selling. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. They're selling the 145 and buying the 150 as a spread. You want to hop in on that one? Let's take a look. 160 minus 101 divided by 2 divided by 500. 6% there. I think someone's onto that one. They're also doing the spread, the 140, 145. A lot of volume. Check out the 160. 5.3 thousand. Is right. Where's 145 on the chart? 145's up here. For March expiration, that seems very reasonable, considering you're getting a 6% return as well. A little close for me. Put side, maybe you get paid more. You have to sell the 120. Man, if China ever invaded Taiwan, this thing is going to drop like a stone. If you sold 120 and bought, maybe buy 115. Good liquidity. And the spread is right. The 120 is green. The 115 is red. That's widening out the spread there. That makes it more expensive. That's cool. 100 minus 51 divided by 2 divided by 500. 5% on the nose. I'm not crazy about it. Let's move on. Actually, if China ever did invade Taiwan and this thing drops, go ahead and sell the put side. That'll be fun. Lucid, Datadog this week on the 13th. That's right. Next up, Citigroup we already looked at. Snowflake on the 28th. That's about a couple weeks out. FXI, that's the same thing as a China play. Riley Square on the 22nd. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola tomorrow before the open. Let's take a look at KO. If you sold the put side today, the day before earnings, you'd want to sell the 55, and you only get 17 bucks. Don't do it. Next up, Micron. Or post. Wait, no. Micron must be coming up. Skip. Enphase, no. Cisco, we get this week, right? Yep. Gold, that's Barrick Gold. They've got earnings coming up. Same thing with Oxy on the 14th. Uber, flat today. Let's skip it. JD is a China play, up 3.5% today. GameStop, Airbnb we looked at last week. Earnings are tomorrow after the close. There's not a lot going on today, guys. Paramount. Roku on the 15th. We'll get that this week. This is going to be an exciting week. I look forward to it. Adobe is too big. XBI we're already getting irritated by. We're trying to roll it. Boeing, they're still just hanging out at the 200-ish. Nothing to do there. Unity on the 26th. We're too close. A couple more, and then we'll call it for this Monday. Expedia we already looked at. Plug, Spirit, Trade Desk on the 15th. Okay, we'll get that this week. Oracle. ORCL. March 7th. We're a little less than a month away. Here's our chart. Call side, maybe. You'd have to sell the 130. Good liquidity here. That's always nice. 4-cent spread here and buying the 135 for a 4-cent spread. Let's ring in the numbers. What are you doing? 130? Yeah. 110 minus 62 divided by 2 divided by 500. 4.8% on the put side. If you sold the 105, this thing's fairly priced. Huh. This must be earnings related. That's why. Yeah. Yeah, no. Let's move on. Semiconductor ETF. That one's on our naughty list as well. ARK. Okay, let's take a look at ARK. ARKK. We were trying to sell the put side, but it never got to the price we were looking for. Maybe we can sell the call side now. I don't know. Ivy's not that high. It is moving up here. If it breaks above 55 and change or 54 and change, your next spot for resistance is 57.60 from back here. And then 64 and change. Actually, we got some resistance back here at 60. I don't know. Call side, that's where you're going to make the money. You'd want to sell the 57. Sell 57, buy 60. 56 minus 27 divided by 2 divided by 300. 5% there. 5% everywhere today. Killing me. On the put side, you want to sell the 45. You get 47 bucks. That thing is perfectly priced. Ton of open interest as well at the 45. 45 on the chart. Zoom in here. 45 it's above the 200 day. 45 is right about here, and that makes sense. We've got a lot of support here at 45. Again, these things are perfectly priced. We're trying to look for an edge. Doesn't seem to be any edge on anything. Everything is perfectly priced today. Peloton, no. Don't want to force any trades here. CrowdStrike, March 5th. Devon on the 27th. Fubu, no. Baidu, buy don't until after the 28th. Palo Alto, too big. Sucks. XBev. Traded that one before, no thank you. AT&T. American Airlines. There's an event on the 4th. It's Investor Day. Moderna on the 22nd. Walmart on the 20th. Lattice Semi. The 12th after the close. Never even heard of that one. Chewy. We must have earnings on Chewy coming out December, January, February, March. Early March we'll have Chewy. Less than a month away. Lyft is tomorrow after the close. Guys, there's nothing going on today. You didn't mark anything. All right. Well, that makes our lives easier. Not going to force any trades today. We are trying to roll XBI. This is going to be a tough one to roll. We need some downward movement to get it filled. This thing can pull back over the next couple days. This roll may happen. If not, we'll take a loss. That's fine. We've had a ton of winners already this year. It's been a good, strong start to this year so far. All right. I'm happy. All right. That'll do it for today. Happy Monday. We'll get a lot more news the rest of this week, so don't worry. Hang on tight. Tune in every morning, though, 7:15 a.m. on the West Coast and 10:15 a.m. on the East Coast. We go live every morning trading options. Also, tell your friends who are trading to like and subscribe and tune in as well. We can all trade options together. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great Monday. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. CPI, okay?